Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to today's live training, how to make attracting new clients into your recruitment or search business easy, predictable, and consistent. One of the big reasons we decided to do this sort of training today is, we've asked a lot of recruitment and search businesses in our communities, what's the main challenge in their business? And a lot of you have come back and said, it's getting more clients, it's bringing new clients, specifically new clients into the business so you can grow, right? So we're going to sort of run you through, I guess, some of the principles, some of the strategies that you can implement into your business today in order to help you do that. Before we sort of dive into main content, I just want to do a quick disclaimer, pre-qualification. None of what we cover is going to work for you if you're not prepared to step outside your comfort zone, right? So if you're someone who's on this call right now and you're not getting the results you want in terms of new clients into your business, right? We're going to share things with you. Some of it might be counterintuitive to what you're doing already. Some of it might be outside your comfort zone. Again, you're not going to get any results unless you're prepared to step outside that and actually test and try new things in your business. It's not going to work for you if you're not prepared to change what you're currently doing for better results. It's not going to work for you if you're closed-minded, right? Again, so I'm checking, does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. And whilst you're doing that, we've allowed sort of 60 minutes together today. 45 minutes going to be sort of us going through the content, and we'll allow 15 minutes at the end for any Q&As. Again, it's possible we may have a run, but we'll see how we get on. What I want from you for the next 60 minutes, though, is for you to be fully engaged, right? So that means turn off your Facebook, turn off your LinkedIn, turn off your emails, put your phones on silence, whatever. Be fully engaged with us just for the next 60 minutes. Again, the chat box there on your right-hand side. Any questions you've got, you can post them in the chat box. But one of the things that makes these trainings great for us is if we're getting feedback from you guys as we go along to make sure it's making sense, make sure that there's nothing we've missed, make sure that you understand everything. Again, can we all agree to do that? Just give us a yes or no in the chat box. Give us a no. No hard feelings. Again, I'll say to leave now, and then we can sort of maybe catch up another time. But if it's a yes, let me know in the chat box.
Yeah, I just think you said earlier about, to achieve what you want to achieve. And the saying, isn't it? Your goals as a business owner, your goals, your ambitions are just outside your current comfort zone. You can't stay within your comfort zone and expect to achieve your goals and your future goals and your future ambitions that you may have. So I just want you to acknowledge that there may be some things that you think, oh, a little bit awkward about it, but it's outside my comfort zone. That's right. But that's where your success is, outside your current comfort zone. Thanks, Drew.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Awesome.
everybody seems to be in for it, Drew.
Awesome. Perfect. So as we go along, any questions, put in the same chat box that you put yes in. Let us know if anything's making sense or not. Again, we want to hear your feedback as we go along. Again, one last thing. We've got what sort of 60 minutes together today. All of you are going to be in different sectors, different markets, different levels of experience. So the specifics of what will work for you in your business going to vary from person to person. So what we do have at the end is the opportunity for you to get a customized marketing plan, customized contracting plan for you specifically in your business, but we'll give you the details for that at the end. What we're going to do today now, though, is go over sort of the high level stuff. Again, someone check in. Does that make sense? Give us a yes or no in the chat box. And if it does, we'll dive right in. Awesome. Perfect. So we've got six main principles we want to go over with you today. Again, and if you've got questions on any one of them, just let us know in the chat box, right? But so number one principle to attracting new clients into your recruitment or search business easy, predictable, and consistent is this. So number one is that if the client or if your prospect does not know that you exist, you can never buy. So if the prospect does not know that you exist, they can never buy from you, right? And the reason we want to put that in is because, again, we work with thousands of recruitment search business owners all over the world. And when we go into the business, when we look at their, why they're not getting the clients they want, we look at their marketing, what they're doing on sales calls, everything, right? We look at from top to bottom, we look at what's going on. The number one thing that we notice straight away is the number one blockage for you and on those guys as well, stopping you getting the clients you want, is obscurity, right? It's not that your ideal clients don't have a need. It's not that the market's not buoyant. It's not that, there's competitors, right? All these things might be true at any given time, right? But the truth is that when you look at your ideal clients right now, the vast majority of them simply don't know that you exist, right? Our goal for you as a recruitment search business owner is that when your client, not if, but when your clients have a need, you are the first person they think of. We can't get over that first hurdle. You will never get the number of clients you want, right? So your first goal when you look at your marketing, you look at your business development right now, is there enough volume? Are you making enough noise on all the platforms you need to be on, right? Because if your clients don't know that you exist, they can never, ever buy from you? Again, someone check in, does that make sense? Give us a yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, a question first of all. Who here, or how often, let's do it another way, does any recruitment or search business owner here get a phone call, an email, a text or whatever from a potential client saying, hey, come and talk to me on a regular basis? If you're not, by the way, there's something going on there. There's that great story of two recruitment business owners, and they're hiking. I believe it's in Canada. As they're trekking across the forest in Canada, they can hear a rustling sound, and they turn around, and there's a grizzly bear. But the grizzly bear is about 115 meters away. So the two recruitment business owners, two competitors, they start running. But as fast as they're running, the grizzly bear is getting closer and closer. And after about 30 meters, one of the recruitment business owners stops, takes his rucksack off, and puts his trainers on. And the other recruitment business owner says to him, "What the hell are you doing? You're never going to be able to outrun that grizzly bear." And he says, "You're right. I don't have to outrun the grizzly bear. I just have to outrun you. You as a recruitment business owner, what you've got to do is outrun your competitors. You could have the best candidates, you can have the lowest fees, you can have the most expertise, but if your potential clients have never heard of you, it counts for absolutely nothing. The reason that your competitors right now are getting business that you think that you should be having is because they've heard of your competitors, they've never heard of you. Just let that sink in for a minute, what impact that's having on you. Your competitors are better known to your potential clients than you are right now. That's why you're not getting the business. Thanks, Drew.
And there's two ways this sort of manifests itself in your business right now. Two main ways that we see. So number one is that you're an established business already, and you get lots of referrals. Maybe you've got a client base that come to you regularly, right? But there's very little there in new business, right? Because what we see some people do is they get so comfortable with their current network they don't do anything to expand to new clients, right? So again, you want to make sure, look at all of your activity today or the last week. Yes, you might be doing outreach to people that already know you, but how much outreach are you doing to people that don't know you exist yet? Again, you want to increase that if you haven't already. Again, we'll check into that makes sense. Give us yes or no in the chat box. And the other thing is, the other sort of big, I guess, hurdle you need to overcome, or roadblock, or whatever you want to call it, is a lot of the people we speak to, they intellectually, they understand this, right? Yeah, of course, if my clients don't know that I exist, how can they ever buy from me, right? I don't think there's any of you here that won't understand that intellectually. The other thing that might be holding you back, though, is this fear of rejection, fear of, well, if I send, if yes, I need my clients to know I exist, but if I do more outreach, if I'm more aggressive, more consistent, more volume of my outreach, then I'm going to piss people off. People aren't going to like me, right? So we're more concerned with people not liking you than people actually knowing you exist, right? Again, these are two sort of the main things you need to go over, right? You need to let go of the fear of potentially annoying some of your potential clients, because it's stopping them even knowing that you exist. Again, someone check in, does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. And if you've got any questions on that, let me know. And Terry, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, you've made a really good point. It is a big fear for, I would say, something like probably 70% of recruiters. Oh, I don't want to do any marketing, Terry, in case I piss off my potential clients. Think about that statement, though. First of all, they're potential clients, they're not a client. And how else are you going to reach out to them unless you do some marketing? It's, and look, I want to be absolutely clear as well. Some of your potential clients will be annoyed at you. That's a fact. But here's another fact. But you will also get more business than you've ever had before or any other time in the history of your business if you start reaching out to potential clients. So you decide which one you want to do.
Yeah, 100%. It's almost like they go hand in hand, right? You need to piss more people off to win more business, right? You can't have one and not the other. And you need to get comfortable with both in order to grow your business. Again, so when check in, does that make sense? Give us a yes or no in the chat box. Any questions on that at all? Let us know as well. But while you're doing that, I'm going to move on to number two. So number one is, if they don't know you exist, they can never buy from you, right? So we need to get over that hurdle. Second sort of, I guess, hurdle or roadblock that we see in most businesses that we speak to is that if the potential client doesn't view you as an authority when it comes to solving their problem they have, they will never fully respect you, right? If the client doesn't view you as an authority when it comes to solving the problem they have, they'll never fully respect you, right? So there's the first hurdle of getting them to know that you exist, which we just spoke about, right? Then there's this other hurdle, this other sort of roadblock. They not only need to know that you exist, they need to view you as an authority when it comes to solving their problem. Without that authority, we still might win the client, but we won't get the fee we want or the terms we want, right? Which is, again, it's not going to be a good, necessarily a good client. It's difficult to get exclusivity, almost impossible to get retained. And we end up where we're having to prove ourselves before the client's loyal to us. Again, just want to check in. Does that make sense? If you ever experienced that, give me a yes or no in the chat box, right? Where you might even win the business, but the client's like, we have to do it on contingency terms. We're competing with multiple of the firms to fill the same job order. We have to prove ourselves first to get the client, to get the loyalty from the client, right? Let me know if that makes sense. And this happens.
Another,
Sorry, Tony, go on.
go on. I can say another sign, by the way, you send in a CV or resume, but they don't get back to you.
Yeah.
That's a massive red flag if you're sending in details and the hiring manager never ever gets back to you. And by the way, it's just a little warning here. And often the hiring manager will say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was really busy." You have to acknowledge that's BS. What they're really saying is, "I don't value what you're saying. You have no authority with me, and quite frankly, you're not a priority." Because if you take them a message saying, "Hey, get back to me, I've got $1 million of your local currency to give you free of charge," they wouldn't have been too busy then. It's all about priority. And if they're not getting back to you, you're not a priority. They're gonna move on.
100%. So, and the way we build this authority, right, is by producing or putting out content that demonstrates our expertise in solving a prospect's problem, right? Again, I think most people understand that intellectually. I think, though, again, one of the things I see is I think recruiters get confused as to what problem we really solve, right? So I think sometimes what we can do is we focus on the process of recruitment, right? If I recruit salespeople, every time I speak to a potential client, I'm talking about the process of recruitment, right? I'm going to help you get more candidates. I'm going to help you do this, right? We need to go beyond that and start talking about the impact that the candidates have when we place them in the organization, which if I'm a sales recruiter, it's going to be, increased sales, higher revenue, higher profit, that sort of thing, right? So if we talk too much about recruitment, what happens is we end up looking like every other recruiter out there, right? So it's impossible for the client to see who's got the expertise here. Recruiter A saying more candidates, recruiter B saying more candidates. They're both saying to get me the best candidates. I don't really know who's the best here, so I'm not. I can't differentiate the service, right? When we start talking about the real problem that we solve, which is in the impact that the candidates have once we place them. What does that candidate do to the organization? What would it do for the client on an individual level? What would it do to the business on a wider level, right? On a wider scale, right? That's what we need to start talking about in our outreach and our content. Again, I just want to check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. Any question on that as well, let me know. And Terry, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I guess another example would be most of you guys here are recruitment or search business owners. So if I was a rec to rec guy and I recruited recruiters for you, and I reach out to you saying I'm a rec to rec and I can find you consultants, that's what every other rec to rec guy is saying right now. But if I say to you, "Hi, my name's Terry, and I wondered if you'd be interested in having a conversation about an introduction to somebody that could probably add 150 to 200,000 to your bottom line. Do you think you would have room for that type of person?" It's a completely different conversation.
Yeah.
Because as the business owner, recruitment business owner, you want the outcome. You don't necessarily want another consultant, but you do want the additional 150, 200,000. When I was a recruiter, one of the area that I recruited in was IT. So I'd be talking to IT directors, and I would be recruiting project managers and project directors. But rather than talking about the recruitment process, I would talk about bringing somebody in to his or her team to ensure that their projects are delivered on time and to budget that will ultimately enhance your personal career. Is that the sort of thing that you're interested in? Which hiring manager is not going to say, "Well, yeah, of course I'm interested in that." But it's not about the recruitment, because the moment you start talking recruitment, as everybody else is, it's just a commodity. "Oh, so you're a recruiter, are you, Scott, Willie, Sarah, Catherine?"
Yeah.
I'm talking to other recruiters, so tell me about your fees. Can you compete with these other guys? And that's the conversation you're now having, because you've positioned yourself as a commodity.
100%.
Repeat. Number two, if the client doesn't see you or view you as an authority when it comes to solving their problem, they will never respect you fully. And without the respect, you won't get the fees or the terms you want. Almost impossible to get retained if there's no respect. To get retained, difficult to get exclusivity. And the classic one, they don't return your calls. Let me just check in with you because I know it's a slightly different way of thinking. Just give me a yes or a no in the chat if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's okay. Let me know if it doesn't make sense, and we'll find another way of explaining. So just give me a yes or a no in the chat if that's making sense. So Scott, yeah, Catherine, Sarah, yeah, awesome,
I think,
awesome.
well, Terry, just to add to what you said, the other problem this solves is the problem of getting ignored, right? So I think when you talk about recruitment, you're only ever, you're going to get more ignored most of the time anyway, but you're only ever going to get any interest from people who are recruiting right now, right? I'm only going to return that email, respond to that phone call, respond to that LinkedIn message if I'm recruiting right now, right? And we miss everybody who's not, even though if we're clever about it, we can solve their problem using recruitment, right? So if, again, I'm going to use Sales Recruiter as an example. There's going to be lots of organizations who don't want another salesperson, but there's going to be hardly any that don't want to increase their sales, right? So as soon as we start talking about increasing sales rather than giving you a salesperson, giving you a candidate who can make sales, we're going to get a lot more interest, a lot more engagement from our prospects, which again, it's not even necessarily we win the business straight away, but a lot of you have the problem where we're not even getting the initial conversation, so we're not able to build the relationship. Hence, we've got obscurity as the main problem. Again, just want to check in. Does that make sense? Give us a yes or no in the chat box.
Yeah, and I can almost guarantee everybody here has had a message with an email, a telephone. We're not recruiting at the moment. If you got that response, we're not recruiting at the moment. That's not the hiring manager. That's the message that you gave to the hiring manager for the hiring manager to respond that way. Because you shouldn't be asking about whether they're recruiting right now. You should be talking about solving the challenges they're having right now. Completely different. And every business leader will have a challenge in their business. Every single business, including you, the challenge will be around time, team, and money. Every single one of you here right now has a challenge around one of those three things. And your service should be offering a solution to those challenges. So if you ever get, we're not recruiting at the moment, look at what you said to them for them to say that. Because it's about your message that's left them with no choice but to respond with, oh, we're not recruiting at the moment. We're happy with our current recruiter.
Yeah. Perfect. So again, just to recap quickly, number one, if the client doesn't know you exist, they can never buy. Number two, if the potential client doesn't view you as an authority when it comes to solving the problem they have, they will never fully respect you. Number three is this: attracting clients has little to do with your ability as a recruiter and more to do with your ability as a marketing and sales professional, right? So attracting clients has very little to do with your ability as a recruiter and more to do with your ability as a marketing and sales professional. Again, sounds obvious. I think intellectually we can get that and understand that statement. One of the things I see though is I think the industry is full of great recruiters, people who are great at finding, the recruitment part, finding the candidate. People are great at that. People are great at building relationships. What they struggle with though is winning new clients, right? But I think there's this discrepancy in terms of how much time we spend on getting better at that, right? Bottom line is, if you're not attracting the number of new clients you want right now in your business, it's because you have a lack of ability in the marketing and sales aspect of your business, right? Again, whether you agree with that or not is irrelevant. It is true, right? If you were good at that, you'd have the clients you want, right? But again, the question is this: how often, other than this webinar today, how often have you spent getting better at that part of the business? Have you invested? How much have you invested in getting better at marketing? How much have you invested in getting better at sales, right? And when I say invested, I don't mean asking in a free Facebook group or asking your colleague what they're doing, because I think a lot of the time we're taking bad advice from recruiters who are also struggling in this area. But when's the last time you looked outside of recruitment or looked outside of what you're doing currently to get better at that process, right? You're better at your ability at attracting clients. Can someone check in? Does that make sense? Give us a yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah. Sales and marketing is the lifeblood of your business. It's estimated that if sales and marketing was to cease worldwide in the global market, the global economy would come to a standstill in about 24 hours. Think about that. If you've got a method for consistent and regular sales and marketing, you'll never ever have another problem. The problem for most recruiters is they haven't. But Terry, I've got my network. I've got my my regular clients. If you're relying on your regular clients, by the way, you'll leave yourself exposed because you've got no control over what your regular clients are going to do. No, if you've got regular clients, every now and then one of your regular clients and saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Recruiter, we're not going to be recruited for the next year or so. We're gonna put things on hold for a while. Give me a yes or a no. If you've ever had that conversation with one of your regular suppliers where they say, we're just going to put things on hold. Just give me a yes or no. And note, when it happens, it's not that you've done anything wrong. It's that circumstances have changed for your client.
Yeah.
Think about that. And somebody just said it's a horrible thing. Absolutely, it's the absolute pits. But it's through no fault of yours. But if you've got a sales and marketing process, when that happens, you go, shoot, okay, no worries. Listen, I've got a sales and marketing process. I know I can get 20 meetings a month, every single month with hiring managers who are actually in the market for what I do. And who was it that said it's a horrible feeling? Yeah, Scott, you said it's a horrible feeling. If you've got that lifeblood in your business, it's a minor blip. That's all it is. It's a minor blip. Some of the most successful recruitment and search business owners in fact, all of them that I know that have been successful, they work on the lifeblood of their business. Without sales and marketing, they argue you haven't got a business. I would say at least once a week I get an email or a phone call from your recruiter saying, Terry, can you help us? I've been in business for 10 years. We had 3 main suppliers and things have just gone on hold. Things have just dried up through no fault of yours. But I'm going to counter that and say, actually, it was your fault because you allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
Because if you had that sales and marketing process in place, so what?
100%. And I think sometimes, Terry, it's difficult to grasp how important that is, especially when you've got repeat business from clients you're working with already. Because you think, things are going good. My business is successful. I'm doing 6 figures a month. It doesn't matter what revenue you're doing. I'm happy with the revenue I'm doing because of the clients I've got right now. I don't need anything else. I don't need new clients, right? But again, like Terry says, and it can happen to all of us, right? The economy shifts, the clients change their plans, and then all of a sudden your pipeline's dried up, right? You realize that you haven't been doing any business development for however long. Even then, the business development you have been doing hasn't been working really, but you didn't care because you had this repeat business. All of a sudden, it becomes more important right now. It becomes vital, and it becomes, a big or immediate viewable challenge in your business, even though it was always there. It was always a challenge, right? And I think sometimes I see recruiters doing that all the time. Most people that speak to us, they're successful recruiters. They have a successful business. It's just because a client stopped working with them, or client's been put on hold, right? But then, and they never spent the time building that marketing system in the background. And really, the truth of it is, and again, you might be in a situation right now, your level of growth is only going to be, if you don't have that system, your level of growth is only going to be in accordance with how ambitious your clients are, not how ambitious you are. Because if your clients are ambitious with the hiring, you're doing well. But if they're not, then you're not doing well, right? You don't, again, it's your business, your rules, whatever, but that's not, I don't think, a position you want to be in, right? You want your growth to be down to your ambition, not your client's ambition. And if they're hiring more, that's a bonus, rather than, we're dependent on that, using that to feed your family. But if it stops, then you're up shit's creek without a paddle, quite frankly. Again, I just want to check in. Does that make sense? Give us yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you'd add to that?
No, at this stage, Drew, just that I say no, and then I start talking. We have phone calls like this every week. It's happening to recruiters almost every day of the week. Somebody somewhere is going to lose their main client. If you've got 1 or 2 main clients right now, if you've got 3 main clients right now, you're extremely vulnerable. Because if you've got 3, you lose 1 of those main clients right now, you've lost a third of your revenue, just like that, through no fault of yours. And we see it time and time again. But it doesn't have to be that way. It does require you thinking differently. It does require you coming outside your comfort zone and going, I am so comfortable with these 3 main clients that give us a great living. But I need to come outside my comfort zone and find new clients. So if I lose any of these or all of these, which is known to happen, I'm okay. And by the way, once you've mastered this, you can grow your business then. Because rather than rely on those 3 clients and if they recruit, I recruit, you can say to a new consultant that's going to join you, come and join us. We've got a sales and marketing process in place that will get you 20 meetings a month, every single month. month after month after month, guaranteed. Think what that means to your business as well. If you could offer that to somebody joining your business. If people think, if I can just offer the consultant more money than they're earning right now, they'll come and join me and we're going to build a successful business. Bullshit. Doesn't work like that. And I'm sure, sorry, the reason I'm laughing, I'm sure, if you've been around long enough, you know that to be the case. But I can always guarantee that when you first set up, you thought, yeah, I'm going to set this business up, I'm going to build a team, build a successful team, and I'm going to sell the business and ride up into the sunset with millions in my back pocket. If only it were that easy. Drew, Magda's asked the question. So, any ideas on some best practices? Yeah, if you just clarify that, Magda. Best practices for what, Magda? Just let us know what you mean. Best practices, yeah. Back over to you, Drew. If you come back to us, Magda, on that, that'd be great. Anybody else got any questions? Please let know.
Again, just want to check in.
We'd love to get.
Sorry,
go on, Drew. I was going to say exactly what you're saying. I want to make sure that this is making sense. We'd love to get your feedback. Is this making sense? What we're saying here? 2 questions. Is it making sense? And have you experienced some of the challenges where you lose one of your main clients? Just give me a yes or a no in the chat here. Yeah, yes to both. Yeah.
Cool.
Biggest challenge is getting a response from email. Yeah.
Again, so Scott, biggest challenge is getting a response from email outreach. Again, a lot of times when that happens is, again, could be several things, and we should set up a call so we can look at your business specifically, but could be like the volume of emails sending out. Again, so we need to be comfortable sending more emails to get more rejection, but then obviously you get more response off it as well. But it could be, and probably a combination of all these things, could be the message I'm sending out as well, right? So if we're just talking about recruitment or we're using NPCs, yes, we'll get response, but we're only going to get response from people who are recruiting. And at any given time in your market, it's going to be the minority, right? No matter how many people in your market at any given time, the minority of people are going to be recruiting in that moment and have a need for another recruiter. But they're all going to want the challenge that the candidate can solve, right? So again, it's about shifting, what we're talking about to not just being about recruitment, not just I've got this candidate, not just I can find other candidates, but we can help solve your problem in this area. And again, it's going to vary from sector to sector, but that's what it's going to be. Perfect. So
yeah, and just
sorry,
I was going to add to that. I think worth considering, Scott, and not just you, Scott, but for everybody else here. I'll be blunt on this. Your potential hiring manager, your potential client, has absolutely zero interest in you, what you do, what your mission statement is, and what your website looks like. And the reason I say that is the majority of recruiters, what they do is they reach out to decision makers and they say, "Hi, Mr. or Mrs. Decision Maker, Mr. or Mrs. Hiring Manager. I'm a recruiter. I've been in business 20 years. I have a wealth of experience. I do this. We do this. Our mission statement's this." The hiring manager's looking at it and thinking, I couldn't care less. But if you were to send out a message talking about the challenges that the hiring manager's having, are you an IT director looking to build a top class team, but finding it really challenging to find top class IT professionals? And this is impacting on your business. Now you're going to get their attention because you're talking about them and their challenges rather than, yeah, look at me and look how good I am. We've all been there, haven't we? When you go to the dinner party, we've all been there. You stop at somebody, and the person opposite you literally says, maybe not these exact words, "Hi, my name is Fred. For the rest of the evening, I'm going to talk all about me." And you're thinking, please save me. This is worse than hell itself. And we've all been there. If someone's all they're going to do is talk about themselves, how often in your emails are you talking about yourself? Now, recruiters come back and say, I've got to tell them all about me. No, you haven't, because they're not interested. You've got to show that you understand their problem and your message has got to resonate with them so they go, I need to talk to this person. Because when you talk about yourself, you're saying what every other recruiter says. We've got a large database. We've been in business for 20 years. We really care. We offer excellent customer service. Bullshit. Everybody says that. Back to you, Drew.
Well, I'm getting some check-in. Does that make sense? Let us know. Give us yes or no in the chat box. Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. Awesome. Brilliant. Thanks for the feedback. So again, just a quick question before we move on to number 4. Who here, and again, hopefully it's all of you, but if not, let us know as well. Who here is doing any form of marketing right now, right, in your business? And who give me yes or no if you are. So yes, if you're doing some active marketing, no if you're not. I just want to get sort of a gauge of where the room is? Who's doing it?
Yeah. Few people are, yeah. Predominantly specking, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we are, Robert, yeah. Thanks, Scott.
Perfect. So this brings something number 4.
Didra, yeah. Go on, Drew, go on.
Not consistent. Right. So again, if those of you not consistent, again, that's the first thing to fix really, is to be consistent with it, right? Those of you that are doing it, and again, without knowing you've still got your business, hard to say for sure. But one of the big things that we see is, I guess, a misunderstanding of what the purpose of marketing is, right? So to be clear for all of us on this call right now, like the purpose of marketing, purpose of the business development, any outreach that we do is to increase the number of opportunities in your sales process, right? And for most of us here, that sales process is going to be a Zoom meeting, a face-to-face meeting, telephone call, whatever it's going to be, our sales call, right? So any marketing we do, for it to be successful, for us to define it as working, it needs to increase that, right? One of the things that we see so much when we look in people's business, look more closely at businesses, that there's people that are not being consistent, which is one thing, right? Again, an easier fix really, but there's people that are consistent. They're sending emails out, they're making cold calls, sending LinkedIn messages out, they're posting content on LinkedIn, they're doing a lot of stuff, right? But what they're not seeing is they're not seeing an increase of sales opportunities, right? Again, give me a yes or no if that makes sense, right? I'm doing activity, but when it's not getting anywhere, give me a yes or no if that makes sense, right? If it doesn't, let me know as well. So what we need to do as business owners, we need to get clear on what's working and what's not effectively, right? And again, there's going to be probably a lot of your stuff you're doing isn't working, but you're spending time, energy, resources, money doing it, but it's not actually bringing in results. We need to stop all of that, and it's going to give you back more time. And that time we're going to use to invest into developing better and more marketing techniques as well, right? But again, I think there's so much confusion when it comes to marketing, when it comes to branding, when it comes to email outreach. Everyone's talking about it now, which is a good thing compared to when we first started doing this sort of 10 years ago. But now there's so much noise, is that people engage in marketing for marketing's sake without really looking at the return they're getting, right? So the question you need to ask yourself is this, whatever activity is it giving me more sales opportunities? Am I having more sales meetings? What can I do to increase the number of sales meetings I'm having each month? Because once we can sort of crack that, like your sales process is not difficult, right? If we can get more, for most of you, we can get you in front of more hiring managers who have a need for your service, so you can pitch your service to them. You make more sales, right? So again, you need to be looking at dropping everything that's not giving you the outcome and replacing it with things that are. And again, what's going to look like specifically for you and your business is going to be difficult to say without knowing you, but we can have a one-on-one call to look at that. But again, so check in. Does that make sense? Give me yes or no in the chat box. And any questions on that, let me know as well. And Terry, anything you want to add?
I want to ask a question. First question. Approximately, just give me a number in the chat box here. How many meetings are you having per month with interested hiring managers who could give you business? Just give me the number in there in the box. How many meetings are you averaging? To Sarah, 10. Are you having per month? Actually, not enough. How many is not enough for you? Couple, 10. 6. Yeah. And here's another question. Let's look at the top number here so far is 10. So people like Jack and who else? Yeah, Sarah, you're getting 10 meetings a month, which is 2.5 meetings a week, every single week. If you're getting 10 meetings a month, but your direct competitor is getting 30 meetings a month, who do you think is likely to be more successful? Just put C for competitor or Y for you. Yeah, you're right. It is a competitor, but not because they're better at they're not because they are better recruiters than you, but they are better marketeers than you. And that's where the success comes from. So we've got some of our clients are getting 30 meetings a month, every single month. Think about that for a minute. We're coming up to the end of the year, the final quarter. I think there's 64 working days left until Christmas. Let that sink in as well, by the way. 64 working days left until Christmas. Some of your direct competitors will be speaking to at least 100 decision makers between now over the next 64 days or so. Think about that. What impact would it have on your business if you knew you could speak to 100 decision makers over the next quarter. It would be transformational for most businesses. Again, I want to check in that this is all making sense. Could you just give me a yes or a no, or any questions on that? And while I'm doing that, if you don't know how to market, it's not your fault. See, Robert sent me a message saying, we're both seasoned recruiters, but we don't know how to market. You're right. But Robert, most people don't know how to market. Stephen sent me the same message. I've got no marketing experience. Most recruiters have no marketing experience whatsoever. That's not a criticism. That's a fact. How are you supposed to know if you've never been shown how to do it? And what most recruiters do, they say, "Oh, what I do, Terry, I did what I did at my previous company." I go, "Okay. And what did you do at your previous company?" Well, we marketed out candidates. We did a bit of cold calling. I did a bit of stuff on LinkedIn. And are you getting the results that you want? No. Why do it then? Well, that's what we did at our previous company. And the funny thing is, the business owners of that previous company they worked for, they got that from the company that they worked for. Think about that for a minute. When my boys were younger, they used to play football. So when they're 7, 8, and you watch them playing football at 7 or 8, you're going to have 22 players on the pitch, and wherever the ball is, all the players went to that to where the ball is. And if you watched it as a parent, you thought, there's other ways of doing this. But it always makes me smile because that's what a lot of recruiters do. They look at other recruiters' websites. They look at what they did at their previous company. Not that it worked, but we'll just follow the ball. Everybody else is going over to the left-hand side of the pitch to get the ball. I'll go there. Everybody's running back. I'll go back. But you watch a professional football team. You watch a seasoned marketeer. They're not doing what everybody else is doing. And what they're going to do is they're going to do things that work. And if they don't work, they're going to stop doing them. But one thing I'd say to you is, rather after what Drew said, is if what you're doing isn't getting the results you want, stop.
Yeah.
You're wasting time and money. Just let me know if that's all making sense. And Robert, Stephen, I hope that answers questions about not having the experience in marketing. It's not your fault. If you've never been shown, you're not going to know. Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Thanks. No, it's not Robert. Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Jack.
Awesome. Perfect. Which brings on to number 5. Before I go to number 5, I'm going to sort of give you a link in chat box. Those, because I've had a few people ask already, right? Those of you that want to know more about this or want to customize marketing plan for your business. So what we'll do is we'll get on a 15-minute call. We'll look at what you're currently doing in your business right now. You know, what emails, sending LinkedIn messages, you know, whatever you're doing right now, and we'll look for ways to improve it, right? Again, it's going to be different from market to market. But if you're interested in that, if you go to, I'm going to drop the link in the chat box now, but if you go to makemoreplacements.com/triage, that's TRIAGE. That's a quick 15-minute call with one of our team. We can look specifically at your business, your challenges, your sector, you know, what's working, what's not, and help you come up with a plan moving forward as well. So go to makemoreplacement.com/triage to book a call there. That brings us on to number 5, which is linked to what we said already. But number 5 is more volume creates more choice. Number 5 is more volume creates more choice, right? So this is one of the things we do when we work with you, is that we'll look at what's working, what's not. We'll stop what's not, right? Because for most people, it's gonna be like 80% of your activity right now is not gonna be working, right? And a very simple thing to do is, once you've stopped it, you get more time back, you get more resources back, you get more, and everything back, right? You stopped 80% of what you're doing right now, and we're sticking to the 20% that's giving you the 5 meters, 10 meters, wherever it is right now. And then we put more volume, more resources into that, right? So again, for Jack, Scott, Rochelle, Sarah, right? You're getting meetings right now. We just need to put more volume, more effort, more energy to do more of the things that got you those meetings, to increase the number of meetings you had. Again, it's a very simple thing to do, but again, you probably feel like you can't do that right now because you don't have the time, right? But once we stop doing things that aren't working, you give them back more time, we can spend more time doing that. Again, someone check in, does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you want to add to that?
Not this stage, you carry on. Not this stage.
So give me a yes or no in the chat box. We'll move on to number 6, and we'll take any questions. Perfect. But those of you that want a one-on-one call, go to makemoreplacements.com/triage.
Yeah. And it's a great question. When was the last time you turned down business? I was talking to somebody today. In fact, they're on this call, so I'm not going to give your name. And they felt that you had to take any business initially. Again, that's not true. You should decide who you work with, when you work with them, and how much they pay you. That should be your decision. then you should be turning down the wrong type of business. You will always get what you tolerate and accept. You got a shitty client right now, by the way, or a shitty candidate, and you're pissing and moaning about them. Take a look in the mirror, because that's what you're accepting. You can go back to them at any time and say no.
Yeah.
If you don't return my calls within 2 working days, I'm going to assume this is going to go on hold. This assignment. Now you're now thinking, oh, I can't afford to do that. If you get your sales and marketing in place, and you're working, let's say, on a retained or exclusive basis, yes, you can. There's something to consider, by the way. Just to consider, there is more business out there than you can actually handle. Everybody here can work on an international basis. So there's literally, modestly, at least 10,000 businesses that you could work with right now. Most recruiters only need between 6 and 12 new clients every single year, and they will have a fantastic time. So you need a small amount of business to be highly successful. There is more business out there right now than you can handle. And by the way, if you don't believe that, you're going to struggle. If you think there's a scarcity of business, you're going to have a scarcity mindset, you're going to struggle. And you're going to behave accordingly. Because think how somebody that's got an abundance mindset and believes there's more business out there that they can handle, how they behave. You get what you tolerate and accept.
Yeah.
Again, very quickly before you move on, Drew, just give me a yes in the box if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, let me know. Scott, Sarah, Willie, Rachel, so my apologies, Jack, Catherine, just let me know if this is making sense. If it's not, it's okay. I'll look at answer it a different way. Scott, 100%. Willie, yeah, great. Excellent. Thank you. Back to you, Drew.
Perfect. So this brings us on to number 6, and then we'll, again, if you've got any questions, we'll take those at the end, right?
Data.
So
Yeah,
how can you expect results with no actions, the right actions?
how can you expect results with no action? Not sure if I understand that, Willie. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, can you type that in again, Willie? I'm not sure if that was a comment.
Oh, not a question, right? Yeah.
Okay, right. Sorry.
Yeah, you can't no actions, right? You need to
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So number 6 is data, not drama. And what we mean by this is that again, most of you here will be established businesses. You've already worked with, some clients. Yes, you want more, but you've already got what you've got is you've got, if you look back at what you've done over the past year, past 2 years, 10 years, whatever, however long you've been in business, there will be patterns, there'll be a paper trail of what brings in clients, right? And to grow, to increase the client attraction in your business, to increase that system, right? What we're going to do is get clear on what the data tells us, right? So, for example, if you do email outreach or you do LinkedIn outreach, you do telephone outreach, doesn't matter what platform or how you do outreach, right? There will be data there that says, in order to get one appointment, I need to make this many calls. In order to make this many calls, I need this many emails first. In order to send emails, this is data, right? There's going to be a paper trail of what needs to go into your marketing system right now to get you the end result, right? So if you've even got one client, there will be, if you look at that one client and you look at where they've come from, there will be data there, right? So if you've got one client and they came from, a cold call, just keep it simple. You can look back at your data and say, look, I made this many cold calls to get that one client, right? So again, we've got the data there that we can duplicate. Again, just want to check in first of all, does that make sense on a surface level? Give me yes or no in the chat box. Perfect. Yeah, give me yes or no if that makes sense. I want to make sure we're on the same page there, right? So there will be data on your business, right? Most recruiters aren't, although they're on an intellectual level, they'll know this. They're not really, they don't have a grip of the data. They don't have a grip of what inputs they need to do, what inputs they need to put in to get the output, what actions do they need to do to get the client, right? If we can get clear on that and get some clarity on that, it allows us to do 2 things. One, we can optimize it, right? So if we've got the data telling us this, we can look at ways to improve that. If it taken us 100 emails to get one client with a particular type of email, particular copy, we can look at tweaking it. Can we improve that? Can we get better results next time, right? So optimization is very key. But also once we've got the, again, these are 2 simultaneous things we do. We've got optimization and we've also got scale, right? Again, Once we've got the data there, if I know that it takes me 100 emails to get one phone call with a client, and I actually want 10 phone calls a month, again, I just need 10x that, or whatever number is, I can just increase it, right? It becomes a very simple and predictable process. I think sometimes we start the month or we start our business and we're guessing, right? We're doing all these things, we're guessing what's going to bring in results, we're guessing how many outputs we need. The clearer you can get on the data that brings you the results, and you just use that data to grow, the easier, more predictable, more consistent your business growth will be. Again, someone check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you'd add to that as well?
Yeah. There's a story. I think it might be an urban myth. I don't know, but you'll all be familiar with the Beatles song "Imagine." Apparently, that came about because they got a tax bill. The Beatles got a tax bill, and they said, "Let's write a song and build a swimming pool," because they had a formula and the data when it came to writing music, and they know if they got it right, how much money they can generate, and be able to build a swimming pool and pay their tax bill. And that applies to you. So if example, I talked earlier about if you made a decision to recruit on a worldwide basis, and there was 10,000 potential clients, and you said, I'm going to get their email addresses, dead easy, you can get that in a couple of hours. And I'm going to send them an email, not talking all about me and how fantastic I am, but talking about the problems they're probably encountering right now. And if I only get a 1% response, so hell, 99% of them are going to ignore you, you've got 100 leads. If from those 100 leads where people go, actually, I could be interested, I only convert, this again, be very modest, a third of those into appointments. So I've now got 30 meetings. And of the 30 meetings, I get, again, keep all this all modest, I get 3 job orders. And from the 3 job orders, I work on contingent, not a good idea, but let's say that you did that. And I fill one of them. You've got some data there because you now know what you need to do if you want to 2x your business. You then say, well, actually, what if I was to send it to 20,000? Or what if I could do something to improve the numbers and get a 2% response? Because that 1% increase would mean that you're getting 200 inquiries. Yeah. What if I got a trained telephone setter who could make appointments for me? And in fact, their conversion from lead to meeting was now 50%. But unless you know these numbers, you can't do it. And it's one of the questions we ask all the time. What's the size of your market? What's the size of your email list? How many connections you got? All that data is imperative, knowing that data, for your success. Back to you, Drew. And then before I go back to you, Drew, just give me a yes or no in the chat box, if that makes sense. Data, not drama. Just let me know if that's making sense. Data, not drama.
And again, any questions, let us know as well. But yeah, let us know.
Thanks, chat.
It's a yes or no in that box. Just want to hear from you all.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
And again, it's okay if it doesn't make sense, just put no, and I'll come back and explain. I'm totally cool with that. So when people say things like, oh, I've tried email marketing, it doesn't work. You tried it once and it didn't work. You tried it consistently. Did you try it and you talked about yourself, or did you offer a solution to the hiring manager? Did you go for what we call did you ask for marriage on the first date? Hey, I'm a great recruiter. Can we have a jump on the call sometime? There's so many things in that you could do to improve the performance.
Yeah, in fact, Terry, that brings me on to a question we've had from Robert. Right, so Robert says, neither myself or my partner are seasoned marketers. We've done well generating clients off our own efforts. However, we've recently tried delegating by bringing in specialists with mixed results. What factors should any agency owner consider when collaborating with external service providers? Yeah, I've got my thoughts on that. What's your sort of thoughts on that, Terry?
Again, anybody can say they understand marketing. And there's this myth, by the way, that a more mature recruitment business owner says this to us. What I've done is I've brought in a youngster. They're in their mid-20s or 30s, but these guys understand social media. They get some leads. It's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. So you've got to get somebody in where they can show you evidence that they can do what they say they're going to do. Because getting a youngster, just because youngsters use social media more often than they do, then they understand how it works. I get one of them to do it all for me, isn't the answer. And often what recruitment business owners do, they delegate their marketing to somebody because it's not even delegation, it's abdication, because they're washing their hands of it. I don't quite understand this and I don't want much to do with it. So let me just pass it on to somebody else. And then it doesn't work. And then they're pissed about it. That's often the problem. To get somebody that knows what they're talking about and has got evidence to demonstrate that they know exactly what they're talking about. What would you add to that, Drew?
Yeah, I think I agree with what you said. I think also just on what you said, Robert, here, you know, you're not seasoned marketers, but you've done well generating clients off your own efforts, right? Again, without speaking to you personally, I don't know what's going on in your business, but again, I agree with Terry's points about application. But I think if you're really realistically, right, I mean, look, we work with lots of clients on the marketing, right? But you know your business, your market better than we ever could, right? So I'd say that yes, we're specialists in marketing, but we also need your input. You're a specialist as well. I think sometimes what I see happening is people bringing in specialists, whether they are or not, let's leave it at that, right? They're bringing people to do their marketing, and they let go of what they were doing that was already working, right? You have a process that works. You did this. So if you're getting someone in to do that process, your process for you, that's one thing. But I think what I see a lot of time happening is you've got a process that works, you drop your process to try this new shiny object, new thing, their process, and again, I'm not even saying it doesn't work. They haven't had enough time to implement it as much as you have. They don't know the market as you have, so it's not getting the same results, right? You want to, yes, bring people in, try new things, but don't drop what you're doing already, right? And again, use the data that you've got already, what's worked for you, to plug into what they're going to do for you, right? Whether that's us or somebody else, right? That's what I sound that, Robert. Again, just want to check in. You, Robert, and anyone else, does that make sense? Give us yes or no in the chat box. Perfect. Any other questions, let us know. Otherwise, we'll wrap up the day. Perfect. One last question for you guys, those of you here. Again, quick reminder that if you want one-on-one help on this, if you go to makemoreplacements.com/triage, I've put the link in the box as well. But have you found it useful today? So give us a yes or no in the chat box. Again, honest feedback's welcome. And if not, let us know what we can do now in the next sort of 5 minutes to give you what you needed. Just give us a yes. Scott said, how important is LinkedIn content? How important is it? If your clients are on LinkedIn, which again I'm assuming they are, then it's important to be in front of your clients on a consistent basis, right? So whether that's LinkedIn content, Instagram content, email, whatever, it doesn't matter what content we're talking about here. If your clients are there, then yes, of course it is, right? Because we want them to, you want to be top of mind when they're in a position to buy. I think the real question is though, it needs to be the right type of content, right? I think sometimes, again, without speaking to you personally, Scott, sometimes what people do is they get, when we think about what makes good LinkedIn content, we think about what gets likes and engagement. That's not always the same thing that gets clients and money, right? So it's not about whether LinkedIn content is important or content's important. It definitely is, but it's about the right type of content is what I'll say there. Terry, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, so a lot of people then say to me, well, I post all our jobs on LinkedIn. So you're posting all your jobs. That's not necessarily the right content to put in on LinkedIn. People will more likely engage with you, by the way, if you share some personal stuff about yourself, rather than, we've got a vacancy, which most recruiters do, by the way. You start sharing your personal stuff. Most of your competitors aren't doing that. Your personal stuff is your personal stuff. So you stand out from the crowd. Yeah, so Drew's saying don't chase engagement. Don't chase likes. It's not about likes. And we find this sometimes a challenge for younger recruiters who are used to things such as Facebook, where you go, oh, I've got lots of likes on this Facebook post and whatever. But we've got no evidence that suggests that you're going to get the business from that.
Yeah, 100%. Perfect. So if there's no more questions, again, thanks a lot for your time, guys. Those of you that do want one-on-one help, makemoreplacements.com/triage, right? That's TRIAGE/triage, right? Thanks a lot for your input. Thanks a lot for your feedback. Again, really enjoyed doing these sessions. We will speak with you soon. Until then, take care, take action, and be relentless.